And we're off to the races.
We're running?
Yep.
All right.
Why Trump's bad.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Top 10.
Let's dog on Trump a little. Oh. Well, I mean, there's no shortages of things to complain about.
Let's, I want to look at this. Go ahead.
What are you looking up? Oh, when you at the fight?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Did you see him walking out?
No, I didn't see him walking out. Oh, yeah, when he was walking out to the arena.
Yeah.
Walking in, yeah.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
See if
playing, I think Kid Rock jamming some American.
I didn't hear what they were playing.
Use Kayak's filters to search only the flights you
I didn't.
actually want to take.
I didn't.
Download the Kayak app.
Let's see.
Where do we normally go?
Oh boy, why did he do that?
Mm.
Which way we going, guys? Let's go right now. No, to his room. His room.
What's the bar?
I don't know why.
Over.
Well, let's see. They had a part.
Great champ.
Give him a lot of money.
Wow.
Listen to the people, man.
I don't know what happened to the video.
The bar on the side. See all the way to the right? There you go.
Yeah, it didn't. Okay. Oh, got it. Thank you.
Yep.
There we go. There we
Got it.
Trying different layout here, different format. I think this is the part they were talking about where he walked out looking like a fighter.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And then they said on the same weekend.
Well, Biden on the beach. It was sad. It was sad, man. He was doddering around in the sand like he looked like he was 300 years old.
This one?
Yeah. He was being really careful walking. And I'm sure there's some sandbags somewhere out there that he could trip over.
There's a lot of people there. I'm really surprised.
Yeah, no one was talking to him.
No, I'm just saying, like, where's the
I'm sure
Secret
Service is keeping them back.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there's people. Look at that guy walking right there with a chair on his back.
But I mean, no one's swarming him, and that was the comment they were making is, you know.
I just came across an article, something about Trump walks out looking like a fighter at UFC, and
oh, wait till you see him walking across.
Biden relax at the beach.
They show it in this clip. It was sad. He was being really
I don't
careful.
see any Secret Service. Maybe that guy right there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But it just looks weird. You know, it's weird. Like, not what I
would. Guys in polo shirts. They were probably.
Yeah, just
you know.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
And they're 3 years apart. And oh, here, look at this. Here's a. Here we can. I didn't even have to.
Look at that. Side by side comparison. What is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks, honey.
People that are just listening are probably. Oh. Who's this?
Dave Rubin.
Okay.
YouTube.
I've seen it.
My man.
Different places, but more importantly, we get a chance to talk to him each and every week. Dave
He's got a
Rubin.
good show. I like the Rubin Report.
Yeah, I think you've had me bring up one of his videos before.
Yeah.
Good to see you. I am fired up today, so let's roll.
Let's talk here about your mate and mine, the greatest president of all time, Joseph R. Biden. So he has decided that MSNBC is the only place that he's ever going to do TV interviews. He did one recently, and at the end of the interview, this is not like a guy who hasn't been interviewed before, where you sit there, wait, they throw to the break. This is what happened.
The American, whether they voted for me or not.
Well, and the ones that didn't vote for your bills but run on them.
That's right.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Nicole,
much.
I appreciate
it's great to have you. It's great to have you. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction and analysis to everything we just heard.
Seriously, he just gets up and walks off, Dave.
Paul, after Paul Wallace, like 25th
And I don't care.
I hadn't even seen that.
Between,
So.
Trump at the UFC and Biden banging
Oh,
around
so
in the
normally they
beach.
would,
Now,
Oh, there
Wait,
you go. Right there.
even the ladies of The View could not tell us that this man is, sprightly and across it. The only reason he is propped up is because the assumption is he's the guy who can beat Trump. The only reason that they will put up with this endless embarrassment, like you watch him with the NATO leaders, and the American president's supposed to have a certain swagger.
Oh,
This
it's
bloke
not a
has
good
a certain
look.
swagger. He has.
I guess you get the
So,
point.
yeah.
But yeah, I had just seen an article that there were some videos circulating. I guess I should have looked and
Yeah,
found a
it's
comparison.
pretty funny. But yeah, man, Trump, walks in there with his swagger. And there was the video I was watching. At some point in there, they start jamming some Kid Rock, and everyone's screaming, and he's walking through there like a rock star.
Yeah, there's definitely
You see Biden on the beach, and no one's coming up to him
definitely a different tone.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And just the way he moves around, like you could tell he's fragile, man.
Interesting.
Biden. He's trying not to fall on his face out there, and hey, it's sad. It's going to happen to all of us. We get old and you just can't move around the way you used to. Just
I don't know why
own it.
Why you'd want that position at that age in life.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
The only thing that makes sense to me. But let's thump on Trump first. then we'll bang on Biden.
You see Vivek on Tim Poolio in there?
Yeah.
Wow. I've never really heard him talk a lot.
I've been on the Vivek bandwagon for a long time. It's for quite a while. 'Cause
He hit on a lot of good stuff.
He's intelligent. He's really smart, really articulate. He thinks fast. He's quick on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be hard to beat in a debate, And I like his stances on stuff so far. He's impressed me a lot.
I'd like to see him debate. Him, Trump, and DeSantis on debate stage.
It'd
be interesting to see. Yeah.
It'd be fun to watch. But I think anyone would have a hard time beating him. Trump some because of the way, Trump debates with, his stand-up comedy acts, like his one-liners, the zingers he throws out, like he knows how to own a crowd. but yeah, to complain about Trump, like there's no shortage of issues. I mean, from serious things to petty things, like get a haircut, man. that Trump hair, like, come on, you're a billionaire, you're an ex-president, like, get a haircut. It just looks terrible. And I've seen him on some interviews. I'll tell you some of the things that. Yeah, look at how much younger he looked right there. It wasn't that long ago.
This is 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's I need to get better at this.
Yeah,
we'll dial it in. Yeah.
Practice makes perfect.
Yep. It would be nice if we had a producer.
Yeah, that's what we need, to
do this for us. Here we go. Kind of like this format. Let us know if you guys like it. I got turned on.
I give up a lot when I run.
Here we go.
One thing I do is get rid of carried interest. One of the greatest provisions for people like me, to be honest with you. I give up a lot when I run because I knock out the tax code. And she could have done this years ago, by the way. She was a United States senator. She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Well, why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were a senator? The reason you didn't is that all your friends take the same advantage that I do. And I do. You have provisions in the tax code that, frankly, we could change.
It's just,
but you wouldn't change it because all of these
he's
people
great to
give
watch.
you
He's
the
a
money so
fighter.
you can take negative ads on Donald Trump. And I say that about a lot of things. You know, I've heard Hillary complaining about so many different things over the years. Oh, we should have done this. But she's been there for 30 years. She's been doing this stuff. She never changed, and she never will change. She never will change. We're getting rid of carried interest provisions. I'm lowering taxes, actually, because I think it's so important for corporations.
You see the horns
because we have
popping out of her head
corporations
right
leaving,
now?
massive corporations and little ones. Little ones can't form. We're
trying to
getting
make
rid of
them
regulations, which goes
spontaneously
hand
combust.
in hand with the lowering of the taxes. But we're bringing the tax rate down from
Then you wonder why they're trying to
35%
throw him in
to
jail so hard.
15%. We're cutting taxes
They
for the middle
hate that
class.
man.
And
Just hate
what
him.
that's going to do is a disaster for the country. And that's like no growth. Bringing them down to one of the lower.
Isn't that crazy?
But
like
my
how he
biggest-
said you could have done something about it, but
Yeah.
you don't because your friends are taking advantage of the
Exactly.
thing.
That's they were, you know, and her husband too, you know. They all do.
But they go out there and they
You know,
parade this so to
sure.
the American public like
Yeah.
Like-
Virtual signaling, you know.
like
right?
only the ultra wealthy are doing this.
Yeah.
They're not mentioning that their donors are doing this
Right.
and they're doing this, right?
Yep.
They make you
all their
believe
family members are doing it,
Right.
you know.
right,
like,
they make you believe that
hey man, she's one of us. She carries hot sauce in her purse, right? So, yeah, you know, to complain about Trump, I'll tell you some of the things that I struggle with is Operation Warp Speed, man. Like, you know, he still comes out and glorifies it like it was a wonderful thing, even though now the narrative, you know, has changed some and there's more information out now about it. And I think had he had a little humility and come out and said, hey, look, we did the best we could with what we had. And, you know, it didn't turn out as well as we wanted it to, but we made the best decision we could. I think people would respect him for that. But, you know, he still wants to come out and I saved millions of lives. It was wonderful, a wonderful thing, you know, the best, greatest thing in the world. And it's just that, like, the ego sometimes I think gets in the way, and that bothers me.
yeah.
It really bothers me. I don't like that about Trump at all, you know. And I think that's definitely one of his weak points in his campaign, that, you know, DeSantis, Bake, anyone that's on the Republican ticket there could really beat on him about was, you know, that and Fauci, you know, is his good buddy. And, you know, I mean, I get it. I can completely understand that he surrounded himself with people he thought were good people, and some of them wasn't. And he didn't fire people the way he should have. And truthfully, I think what happened with Trump, to give him some credit, he's a deal maker. And I think he really believed in his heart that, you know, he could work with these guys. He would come in and, you know, get the deal done, right? Make the deal, get the deal done, because that's what he does. And they betrayed him, you know. But man, I really struggle with his inability to just say, hey, you know, I made this decision. It didn't turn out that great, but, you know, I did the best I could with what I had. The information that, look, they rushed it out. They were trying desperately to save lives. Everyone was panicked. No one knew what it was, what the fallout of all of it was going to be. But now you can Monday night quarterback that, right? You can look back in hindsight now. So now he should be able to step up and say, hey, you know, it didn't work the way it was supposed to. You know, A lot of people got lied to. A lot of people got bullied into that and shamed. He doesn't speak out against that. He still owns it like a badge of honor, and that really bothers me. So there's a big criticism against Trump. What do you got?
This is what I don't understand is I remember because I started following. I actually got on Twitter just to follow Trump because I kept hearing people talk about the ridiculous shit that he was tweeting, right?
Yeah.
So I got on there and followed him there just to listen to the, you know, the ridiculous
He's
shit. Read
hilarious,
the
man.
comments.
Like, I love listening to him give it to people.
So in April of 2020, April 13th, 2020, as CNN reports, Trump tweeted fire Fauci, retweeted a tweet from a congressman calling to fire Fauci. That's what I don't understand.
And he said that it's not, some of these positions are not real easy to terminate. So I can appreciate that too, you know.
Okay.
I get it. If he picked the best people he thought, some of them weren't very good people. That whole inability to ever admit that maybe your decision wasn't the greatest in the world, and I think that is his one weakness to me. Like, he can just not, there's no humility to him, you know. Now, granted, he's a fighter, and I think we need that. You know, I think, truthfully, this go around, if he got back in, I think he would fire a bunch of people. I think he would attack the swamp a lot more than what I think he tried to get deals done in his first administration. And, you know, I don't think he really understood that. Because, you know what? Come on, he's known Hillary and Bill Clinton, and they're all in the same circles. He's a New York billionaire, you know, a real estate tycoon. Like, you know, he hosted parties that he said Bill's a nice guy, you know. Might get in a little trouble about the plane and the island, he said, but, you know, I think he really thought, you know, hey, I'm part of this group. I'm part of the inner circle. I can get this done. Because that's, you know, he's built a career doing that, you know, getting deals done, right? The art of the deal.
Let's see.
I think he really underestimated the power that the swamp has. And I think this go around, he probably would go in for some revenge. I like that. But I don't like his inability to ever, you know, take a bruise.
Yeah, he definitely upset the political order.
Yeah. He broke the wheel. I like that, you know.
Let's see. He
definitely upset it.
All right, tonight we start with proof the deep state is real in America and that you, the American people, see what is really going on.
It's about a deep state trying to drag a crook across the
Reminds me of
presidential
Close Line.
finish
How old is
line
this?
and trying to destroy the man Americans wanted in the Oval Office.
Should have it with description.
Wants to
4 years ago.
preserve
Yeah.
conspiracy
Don't you remember that-
theorists. Now the
What
president
are you
of the
looking for?
United States.
He was giving that speech and he
calls
said something about the
himself
deep
a victim
state.
of it.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
Deep state operators
Nice.
who defy the voters,
right there.
That wasn't.
push their own secret agendas, are truly a threat to democracy itself.
Which I've heard him complain about the deep state a lot. And
It was
draining the swamp, you know what I mean? Like, he campaigned on that, right? It was
I thought he was.
the wall, secure the border, drain the swamp. These were things that he campaigned on.
Yeah. I remember him giving a speech. I didn't think it was a campaign. Maybe it was. It's hard to remember. Where he said something about the deep state, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" Like he said the quiet thing out loud.
Yeah, he said it out loud. Well, you know, Trump doesn't give a shit. You know, he says what he thinks, and I like that.
I didn't think it was during the campaign. Maybe it was.
Maybe you don't need the, you know, a negotiator, right? Maybe you need a wrecking ball just to break it up and let the phoenix, rise from the ashes. I don't know.
But anyways, then you see that, yeah, I don't.
But then
I wonder
like
what
DeSantis is running videos, his campaign releases that ad and he's hugging on Fauci. And of course there was some AI images in there and, DeSantis, they caught a lot of shit about that. And if you look close, you can tell that, some of those images were AI because they look kind of funny. Like Trump's arm is kind of too long. It's wrapped around him. But if you weren't paying attention, I mean, it kind of looks like he's giving Fauci a kiss on the cheek. I think I kind of subscribe to what Tim Pool was saying about it, though, is when you have these pictures and they're mixed in with real pictures of him and Fauci, and then it says the real Donald Trump and writing across the ad. I mean, it does to someone that wasn't paying attention. You would think. But if you look, like his hair's almost kind of looks a little weird, like too shiny and neat. It just, if you look at him, you can tell. But if you weren't paying that close of attention, you would have said, "Man, look at how chummy they are." So, yeah, I agree. The DeSantis campaign, there was enough images of him shaking hands with Fauci or praising him. He was on TV all the time praising him during COVID. So
I mean, that doesn't.
You didn't have to
I don't get too
generate some shit.
I don't get too spun up about it because during campaigns they lie about each other all the time anyways. Yeah. So I don't get too spun up about a fake.
Well, I think with the AI fake, so you got to be careful though, because at some point,
of former U.S. Chief
you're not going to be able to tell them
apart.
apart.
Anthony Fauci.
Yeah.
But the question which arises now is, did Trump really kiss the top scientists? Well, of course he didn't. These images, which were published by the Florida Governor's Rapid Response Team, are fake. They are generated using artificial intelligence technology. And
because eventually it's going to be good enough, you're not going to be able to tell.
Social media of Donald Trump.
And then what's reality at that point? You know what I mean?
Fake.
One media is saying this is true, another media outlet saying it's not. You don't know what to believe. It's crazy.
But
you can't allow that shit, man. So I do get spun up about the AI stuff because it's dangerous.
No, I'm saying about. I'm not
lying.
I'm not talking specifically.
You want to smear your guy?
That's what I'm talking
whatever.
about.
They've been doing that since there was politics, right? Yeah, I agree.
That's more what I'm talking about.
But Trump, hey man, he left himself vulnerable on that one. He should have thrown Fauci under the bus a long time ago. And he does speak out about him now, but even then he's not really owning his decision in this. How he gave the keys to the Ferrari to Fauci, right? I mean, Fauci's on TV bragging in press conferences like Trump don't tell me no. I get whatever I want, and he's a great president. And look, man, There's video where Trump and Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, are working well together, and they praise each other, and they should. I want to see that. Like, those things don't turn me off the way they would, like a traditional Republican might get grossed out about that. Go, oh, look at that guy, he's, just hugging on this liberal governor over there. I think if you want to be in effect, you're supposed to be the president over all the states, right? You got to work well with everybody. So I don't mind those things. When Chris Christie, was kind of hugging on Obama a little bit, and a bunch of people gave him shit about it. I didn't. I'm like, hey, whatever, man. He's Chris Christie's president. It's like it or not. Make sure you show up and vote in the next election. Then if you don't like the guy, I think there's more important things to complain about than that. Yeah. But the AI stuff, that scares me. I really do not like that at all. And Trump is very vulnerable on that stuff because, man, he puts his foot in it sometimes. But I wish, it's almost the same thing as I seen DeSantis do this when Trump first got indicted and they were arresting him and all that shit was going on. DeSantis should have been the bigger man, got to the podium and said, look, you know, yes, this is my political adversary right now. We're in the same party, but we're running against each other. I want to be president, but what is happening to this man is wrong. This should not be allowed. Whether this was, you know, what side of the political process you're on, like, everybody should be against this. This is the shit that happens in banana republics. Like, this is going to destroy our country. And he just kind of slow burned into it eventually, kind of spoke out about it. It was kind of weak. Vivek was right on it. Man, that's why I like Vivek Ramaswamy. Like, he'll throw it out there and he'll take the bruises. Did you see the video where the protester was doing a town hall type, the abortion one, and they went to kick her out and he said, no, give her the mic, let her ask her question, I'll answer your question. Like, he'll go for it, you know. I respect that. It's a breath of fresh air in this shitty politics. Like, God, I hate politics. I love politics too, you know what I mean? But God, I just this whole cycle, this go around, I just wish we could have someone else other than Biden and Trump and Obama and Clintons, and just new people, you know. Just get rid of these old, ancient, just get rid of them. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of these I guess legacy campaigns, you know. Just
I was looking for, I remember years ago, Glenn Beck warning of AI.
Yeah. He was talking about it all the time.
He was talking about how at this time, I mean, this is like,
he's been talking about it for years.
This is like 2010, back in the day when I listened to him on radio.
Yeah.
At work. They like didn't.
Definitely was ahead of the curve.
And I remember him saying, you know, this is just when social media people were just starting to post maybe selfies and stuff, and he was saying about how filters were becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And he was saying something to the effect of be careful in the future, because he said it's going to get so good that videos are going to come out of you saying and doing something, and you're not going to be able to prove you didn't, because it's going to look just like you.
Sound just like you.
He talked about the same thing, like that your voice is out there, whether it's talking on the phone or it's, you know,
video
posted,
that you uploaded,
right, video you uploaded,
video or a short on Facebook.
Right. And all they need is some samples of your voice.
Actually, I heard it was 3 seconds. It was I guess there's this new thing going on. They'll call and they'll ask you your name, and just by saying, they'll say, "Is this so and so?" and you say yes. And then they ask you one other question. It was like 2 words. They could, with those letters, that combination, they could make you say anything. So they tell you, don't say yes. Ask who it is. You know, if they ask you that, because the program is specific for those keywords it's looking for.
I mean, it's out there.
It's weird.
Anyways.
But yeah, I mean, they can do it.
I remember
it was the same thing with DNA. Like I told you, I want to do the ancestral, you know, thing, and I said, nah, you know, I don't want to drop my DNA in there because, you know, it's a bioweapon or something. You're like, you don't think they already got it anyways, and you know, they probably do.
They do, because every baby born gets a heel prick and all that. We went over it in one of the podcasts about how they take a heel prick. Yeah,
I didn't know that
sample.
they did it back when we were born, though.
What,
you know? I wonder when that started, because you know, and you know, I guess we're getting aged a little bit, so there wasn't DNA then, just blood type. You know. But they probably did, just to match your blood type with your parents or something. You know.
I don't remember.
But look they just got a serial killer because he threw his pizza box out with a piece of pizza crust. That, you know what I mean? Like,
but how did they know to look there?
Oh, they had some evidence that were leading them down that corridor, you know. But yeah, I want to hear the whole story. Like, I got part of it from Megyn Kelly. I think did a special on it. It was really interesting. But yeah, it was, he got burned by some pizza crust. So, lesson learned, don't waste food. There you go. And once it hit the trash, it was fair game. They can take it. They don't need a warrant for that. So, I imagine that, it was years ago. I remember reading a story about a drone that was a mosquito. Looked just like a mosquito. It was about the same size as a mosquito. It was the world's smallest drone. And they were saying it was fake. And then the guy he was a professor out of a college. I don't remember what school now because it's been years. But he came out and said, no, actually, that drone's real. I designed it. And the scary thing was you could fly that into someone's house and it could actually bite you. It would prick you and take a blood sample. That's scary shit, man. Think about that. You're sleeping and a mosquito flies in, bites you, and flies out, and it's got your DNA.
Seems like there'd be, I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
But
I know there's all these rules and laws, but come on, man. There's all kinds of rules and laws that they're not following.
There you go. The government has your baby's DNA. Should you be worried? Some people think so. The ubiquitous practice of newborn blood spot screening may seem harmless enough. Babies born in the United States have a small amount of blood taken from the heel within 48 hours after they're born. Samples use screen panel, inheritable disorders, and congenital defects. When did it start, though?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Is when
1962.
Wow. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got us all. Well, good. Then I'm gonna send my DNA swab out. Then why not? They already got my DNA anyways.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So, something you got something that Trump just kind of grinds your nuts about?
No, I don't pay. It's like, well, yeah, I'm sure that if I sat and thought about it enough,
that was kind of.
I could pick apart his personality.
He's brash. He's kind of an asshole. You know what I mean? But I think maybe nowadays that's maybe what you need.
The executive order over the bump stocks. I can nitpick a couple things, but in the end,
I think he was a little weak on the 2A stuff. Yeah, that would be my second biggest criticism.
And.
Now, would he be this go around? I don't know.
That's what I don't know. Did he learn enough lessons of who to surround himself with?
He said so. And I was listening to, his son, Junior, on, he's been on a few different podcasts that I watch. I think he was on, Tim Pool was one of them that he was on the IRL Timcast, or Timcast IRL, whatever the hell it's called. And, said that he was all about and of course he's not speaking for his father, but it does give you indication kind of where the mindset of that camp is about their feelings on January 6th, people pardoning them or Assange, right, giving him a pardon, Snowden, and the 2A stuff, because I guess, Junior, he's real super big on 2A, Second Amendment issues. So I think maybe Trump would be a little bit more protective of that Second Amendment this go around than what he was in the first. I would hope so, because man, they're diluting the shit out of it. So
okay,
for every win we get, we're getting 2 losses.
It's kind of sick, but I enjoy the theatrics.
Yeah.
Again, that's why
it's something to watch.
That's why I joined Twitter, right? I like watching the media just freaking melt down. Day.
The derangement syndrome is wonderful. I just love
people would say, well, he wasn't a good representation. He wasn't a statesman. Because he was.
If we wanted that statesman, we would have elected Jeb Bush.
Well, okay.
Right?
Well, right.
He got him because he wasn't that.
Who we have now, is that really a representation of the country?
I think it's a good representation of government. Yeah, I would say not a representation of our country at all, but a representation of what our government actually is. I think he embodies it completely. I think it's just we see it because he's obvious about it, right?
But is he even there?
Not anymore. No, I don't think so. God, when you listen to him speak now, and it's very muffled, and his words are all kind of blending together, and it's just weird. Did you see the video they got him of him 9 on the little kid? No. Oh my God!
What was he doing?
Oh, he's biting this child's arm. Yeah, and then he sniffs the kid. Like,
no.
Yes, I swear, dude. There are podcasters saying if that was my kid, like Secret Service would have tackled me because I would have punched him.
Biden what?
Biden bites child. It'll bring it up. It's crazy.
Are you sure?
And I get it. Like I think maybe he was just trying to play like the creepy old grandpa, like that nom 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 nom. Yep, that's it.
Is
that's
this one?
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Let's watch this together.
Our child sniffer in chief, man.
There's be an ad?
Terrible.
Of course there's an ad.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll let that get out of the way.
Biting the kid was one thing, or like nibbling on him, but then he goes in for the sniff. The second one was really creepy, man. Like, it's weird. Uh-oh.
Oh, we're good.
Well, it's been a huge week in American politics, what with Joe Biden overseas bumbling his way through European capitals and a big NATO summit meeting. Hard work for anyone, much less a man of 80 who had to skip a big leaders' dinner because the previous 3 days' events had taken so much out of him. Luckily, however, all that overseas some fresh children to sniff.
Watch.
What?
No.
Oh, is he trying to? No, is he trying to like?
Watch. This is where it gets weird. Look at. Yeah, this guy going for that sniff.
Joe,
oh, so is he doing like
the children?
It's weird, man.
It kind of looked like.
You know what?
I don't want to say
30 years ago.
but I do want to be fair.
30 years ago, that
like,
would have been okay.
It kind of looked like he was like, maybe like trying to get the kid to smile or laugh or something.
Yeah. Like I said, it was the second sniffy part that was really creepy.
It didn't look like he was really trying to bite the kid.
No, he's doing the
Cookie Monster.
Playing, like I said, the grandpa role, right? But funny, he wants to be grandpa to that kid, but not his own grandchild that he
So
denies,
then what? People are upset about the...
And then he goes in for the sniff afterwards, so that's what was weird.
Again.
It's the second part, like, after he
shoot.
gnaws on the kid. Whoa.
No one.
Man, there
a
we
little
go.
guest shot there, huh?
Yeah, gotta go in and sniff the hair. Like, it's just weird, man. Like,
that was a little weird.
Yeah,
the
guy's creepy. Like, especially now with the way things are with children nowadays. Like, yeah, don't. Someone comes up and tries to sniff my kid. Like, yeah, not gonna end well for them. Leave people's children alone.
Man, this guy.
But politicians always kiss babies, right?
This guy News really a real news company?
But I don't think Biden's there anymore. No, I think they're keeping him there. But what I want to know is who's making the decisions. Who keeps sending money to the Ukraine? And I know he goes out and reads the teleprompter, but who's making those decisions? Who's really running the government right now? With the deep state.
That's definitely a question being raised, right?
I think we have the right to know, right? We have nuclear weapons. Like, there's policies that are being enacted right now that could annihilate the human race, let alone, it could annihilate our country for sure, shutting down nuclear reactors and coal factories and building wind turbines. Like, it's just being crammed on you, no gas stoves. These things have a huge impact on our standard of living, our day-to-day life. So you go beyond that to someone could start World War III really easy right now. You know, with a country that's more nuclear armed than us, apparently.
Yeah.
I think we have the right to know who's got the finger on the button. You know, who's making these decisions, these policy decisions, whether we should push these Putin and Zelensky to the table to negotiate a truce, and you know, like, who's running this shit? We have the right to know that because these things impact us directly.
Right.
You know. But you're not gonna know.
The water's so murky. This whole thing with, you know, Ukraine, Russia, who's benefiting from this? Why? Right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the angle here?
Power, control. You know, obviously we are in well, they call it proxy war. Look, man, it's a war. We're at war with Russia right now. They can try to label it whatever they want. When we're sending over munitions and, you know, everything but foot soldiers at this point to fight Russia, it's just we're fighting in the Ukraine instead of, you know, on Russian territory or United States territory. It's the only difference. And you know what? Now they're calling up National Guard, sending them over to Europe. You see that?
I did see something about
that. I mean, every single time I seen I think it might have been Glenn Beck broke this down. Every single time that this has happened over the last 800 years, I think it was, it led to an escalation in a war. Armed conflict every time. So, I don't know, man. I can tell you that there is about 100 ways right now. I see 100 different scenarios where this country just doesn't do very well in the next couple of years. So, I would tell people just prepare for some hardship, you know.
Trying to find a good source here. I kind of want to find
look, it's kind of late in the game now to try to go out in your yard and dig a bunker that, you know, a nuclear bomb shelter or something. Like, shit's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But, you know, you could definitely grab a couple extra cans of corn or beans or something when you're at the store. Some, you know, if I was to give advice, and I'm just a hillbilly, some rookie hillbilly, what the hell do I know? But water filtration, man. Be able to filter water. You know, if it's a survival straw or a survival bucket, I mean, there's, you know, drinking water. That's what I'd be worried about.
What's this?
Of the armed forces back into active duty as Biden uses his authority as president to bolster the number of active armed forces members for Operation Atlantic Resolve to assist in Europe. Also ordering active duty units and members not assigned to be part of the selected reserve. And as Biden has announced this over on whitehouse.gov, Operation Atlantic Resolve is now trending, as several people that I know that are in the reserves are becoming very concerned. But we should have expected this, as just recently at the NATO summit in Lithuania, political leaders were seemingly fawning over Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, practically climbing over Biden to get to him.
There, just, you know, in this polo shirt.
What was that?
That's Zelensky.
Where Biden later slipped about who was attacking who.
Over his shoulder.
Attacks on it
were seemingly fawning over Ukraine, becoming very concerned. But we should have expected this, as just recently at the NATO summit in Lithuania, political leaders were seemingly fawning over Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, practically climbing over Biden to get to him.
Oh, it didn't say what leader it was.
Yeah, where Biden later slipped about who was attacking who.
And ceasing his attacks on it is inhumane attacks on Russia. I mean, by Russia on Ukraine.
And the president was not the only one, as a State Department spokesperson also made a similar remark.
I believe the war has been a strategic failure for Ukraine. Excuse me, a strategic failure for Ukraine. Thank you for the correction. Which is, I need more than one correction today.
Now, I, for one, don't understand how we would need to call up the reserves, or even in the most dire circumstances, activating the draft. As it seems everywhere I go in deep blue Los Angeles, there is an unlimited amount of people that would love to support support Ukraine, and they've already made sure you know
just
exactly who
just
they
sent a
are.
bunch of
Now,
more
obviously, not all
Bradley
the people flying these
vehicles.
colors are combat ready, but war is won through logistics,
Biden
and
himself
somebody
said,
needs
no,
to
we're not
assemble.
going to send planes and tanks because that would be World War III.
So all these supporters with the bumper stickers, are they going to pick up an AK and put it on a plate carrier?
You know, or send their kid, volunteer their 22-year-old son to go over there and die for what? You know, for what? For Ukrainian borders? When ours are open, wide open, like we don't even shut our own. We're not even protecting our own goddamn border.
You think that's where they draw the line?
Oh man, this whole thing just it makes me sick. It triggers the shit out of me because I just don't want to see people die. Whether you're Russian, Ukrainian, I said a long time ago, it was a year ago, we were podcasting about this when this was all bubbling up and there was all this anti-Russia shit. And I'm like, look, man, you know, like Putin's an asshole. I get it. He's a bad guy. Maybe. I don't know. I don't fucking live in Russia, right? This might all be propaganda for all I know. I don't know. And I don't personally know anyone that was in Russia that, you know, came to the U.S. that could tell me. Maybe they would say, oh, this guy, he's the Antichrist. Maybe he is. But Russian people, like, you know, and I had made the joke, like, man, I like Russia. Like, I like vodka, right? Like, who doesn't like vodka? Like, why are we fighting with Russia? And there's probably all kinds of good people in the Ukraine that, you know, are getting blown up. I don't want it, like Trump said, the best line he ever had. I want people to quit dying. You know, it was great. It was great. That's how I feel. I don't want people to die, especially for some elitist pricks to, you know, that have stock options in Halliburton and, you know, Lockheed Martin, and, you know, they're getting richer, the Dick Cheneys of the world, right? Like the Schumers and all these guys that just, you know, Lindsey Graham, you know what God, I wish they just strap a parachute to his ass and drop him over there. There you go, Lindsey Graham. You want this war so bad, fight it yourself. You know, send your family over there to fight it.
So best case scenario, if there was no involvement, Russia just would have installed a puppet government in Ukraine, and Ukrainians' life would have went on just day to day as normal.
It would have been a 3-day war, man. You know, it would have been over.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
That's what I heard. You know, I mean, weren't they part of Russia at one point? Like they're all kind of the same group of people, anyways. I mean, there's people in the Ukraine, from my understanding, that were pro-Russian and wanted it. Right. They used to be part of Russia, you know?
But then you ask yourself, if Canada, hypothetically, air quotes here, don't freak out, invaded the U.S.
The Mounties on horses?
Would you be all right with them installing a puppet government as long as your day-to-day life didn't change?
You know, would they take... Some people would. Don't we got a puppet government right now?
Right.
Is that not what Biden is?
But I'm saying...
Was he elected or selected? Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's a good question.
Isn't it ingrained in the Americans that they would fight?
To fight back? Yeah. Right. I think the average, I think we're losing it quickly. You know, I think there's a lot of Americans that are rebellious at nature, at heart, right? We told, you know, England and their monarchy to get bent.
And we had the help of France, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we had help.
Right, without them.
But this was a country that was crossing the ocean, right? And claiming, and there was lots of countries at that time that, you know, part of the U.S. France was claiming. There was, you know, everyone was land grabbing the New World. This is different than 100 miles of a border dispute. You know what I mean? Like, was Russia really trying to take over the entire Ukraine, or were they pushing the border back some so that, what was it, Kyiv, or however they pronounce it, so that, you know, they had that port there, the warm water port or whatever. I don't know. Well, what I have seen is complete escalation. Every day this just gets worse and worse. And I watched what happened after 20 years of fighting in Afghanistan. in the end how that went, and I just don't want to see people die for no reason. You know, is it to prop up our currency? Maybe. I heard a good argument made about that. Like we used to back our currency as the world, you know, currency around the world with gold, and then, you know, we lost the gold standard. We don't do that anymore. Now we do it with the barrel of a gun. So would Americans be okay with this if the president got on TV and said, look, we need to do this because these guys are going to make a coalition behind our back and crash our economy, and you're not going to be able to get your double mocha latte at Starbucks anymore? Maybe people would be okay. Well, then tell the truth then. If that's what it's about, then get out there and say it. Why? Tell me why we have to fight this war. But it looks like we're going to. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good.
It just gets worse and worse. And man, you know, and this would be bad if things in our country were good. But when you look at energy is crashed in our economy, you know, food, like across the board, everything is just fragile right now. Do you really want to go into a depression because of a Ukrainian border dispute with Russia?
Did you know this?
What?
The American Revolutionary War, that Britain hired 30,000 German mercenaries to fight U.S. troops here.
Yeah, I didn't know how many it was. I knew that there was mercenaries that they hired. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's like they had a lot of the ships that were pirates along the coast were mercenaries, you know, that were hired by Britain to attack us.
Wow.
And then eventually when the war was done, like they just became pirates, you know. And
I don't know how I missed that in history class.
But yeah, I didn't know that they were German specifically and that there were 30,000, but wow. Interesting.
Just back up for people to read. Yeah.
So no doubt you can make a compelling argument of, you know, mirroring history with what's going on right now. Like, you know, would we have won our Revolutionary War without support from other countries? Perhaps not. Or maybe we would have, and it just would have lingered on a lot longer. Did we not have some assistance in the Civil War, even the American Civil War?
Right.
You know, there was assistance. You know, the South and the North were lobbying for help with, I think it was France, if memory serves me correctly. I don't know. The good questions. I just want to be able to ask the questions, have the debate. Let's have the discussion. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm man enough to admit that. Like, okay, I was wrong. I see that point. I'll concede it. You know, convince me then. But don't just tell me we're doing this. You don't need to know why, peasant. Just
World War III and the
donate
draft.
your kid. You know, donate your kid to the cause.
Yeah,
while you legitimately watch these guys get away with shit constantly, whether it's cocaine or $10 million for the big guy or underage hookers and pedophile island, and no one never goes to jail, you know, like I'm sick of this. That I'm just over it. You know, you want to enact laws and rules, then you should have to live by those same laws and rules. And you know what? If they quit letting these guys make exceptions where they're exempt from all this shit, you would see Congress and the Senate would make a lot better laws and rules that would make a lot more sense. They'd be thought out, fleshed out a lot more. Because they'd have to live by it. They don't care, you know? They don't even, that's why when you listen to them bitch about 2A and, oh, we got to ban these machine guns, and like they don't even understand like how the rifle works or anything about it. They don't care. They don't need to know. You know, they won't even do a little simple, take a few minutes of their day and just kind of learn about it a little bit. Because it's not going to affect them anyways. They're still going to have Secret Service with short-barreled rifles protecting them.
Do you,
You know?
know who Aaron Lewis is?
Yeah.
This popped up in my suggestion yesterday. I wonder how accurate this was. I'm waiting for it to load, guys. It's got an ad.
Of course. They got to make their money.
Yeah. Be nice if they monetize our team.
Yeah, I wish, man, run some ads on our show. We're just not big enough yet.
Yeah, right. Speaking of which, like, share, subscribe, give us a thumbs up.
Do us a favor. Help us out.
Yeah, okay.
We appreciate it, man. Every thumbs up we get, like, it means a lot to us.
There we go. And this is a couple years old, too.
Yeah, I got a lot of us.
You know, it was weird. I released this song as a single and then completely abandoned this altogether and went and played stage shows.
So we gotta get to the point.
So, me and a couple of friends wrote this song during lockdown.
Well, a second, I'll find it, because it was a short that I watched.
Yeah.
This is like 12-minute video here. How long is this one?
14 minutes.
Ooh, how long is that one? Bear with me just a minute.
What's it about?
Oh, shit. Maybe?
You know, it was weird. I released this song as a single and then completely abandoned this altogether.
Oh, that's only 5 minutes, so it's a lot shorter.
We're going to look back on this time frame in history. I liked American history in school.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, I think I heard this.
Okay.
Sound like, yep.
I paid close attention in that class.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did we all pay attention?
This is awesome.
Because if we all paid attention in our fucking history classes, we would know that the Democrats are responsible for every fucking scar that exists on this country.
He lays it out.
Let's go through history, shall we, real quick?
Yeah.
Every American Indian massacre, every fucking slave aside from 8 that was ever owned in this fucking country was owned by fucking Democrats. Every segregational law, every racist law, every Jim Crow law, every fucking KKK meeting was done by the goddamn Democrats. Can we please embrace history so we don't fucking repeat it? Please.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Go look it up yourself. Please, I'm begging you, do not take my word for it. Get off Google and go look it the fuck up yourself. The Democrats are responsible for every fucking scar that exists on this country. Period. The fucking end. I implore all of you, please go look it up yourself.
Sorry for the language, guys.
I don't want you to believe me.
Anyways, you get I didn't look it up. I like I said, it popped up in a short, which was weird. This thing says it's 2 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, I just seen that yesterday.
You saw it too?
Yeah. Yeah, it was yesterday. That's why as soon as he said, I said, "Oh yeah, I seen this."
And what are the
It was on.
so you didn't...
What was it? It was. It wasn't a short though. I think it was. It was actually in a news broadcast. I think one of the podcasts I was watching.
That's crazy.
Played it. You know.
Yeah, it popped up my suggestion.
Actually, it might have been Black Skull Survival. Actually, I think it was Jack Richland played it. That guy, he's been on fire lately. He's been ahead of shit, man, by a day or two. A lot, I've noticed. He's scooping a lot of people lately. But,
Shocker.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe just
Feds usually get the information a couple days early.
I don't know, man. I think if he was a Fed, he wouldn't be all about the health and fitness. I think Feds don't want you healthy and strong.
No.
They want you to fight so that they can throw you in jail, like January 6th, you know. Speaking of, I had some thoughts about that.
Oh.
You know, I've kind of evolved my way of thinking, and I'm going to say something probably very unpopular. But now that we're really getting a taste of the extent of how much federal influence there was in those riots, because I used to be kind of the mindset like, look, man, if you went into the Capitol, like you should be pardoned, get these people out of jail, get them out of prison. But if you were beating up the police, like, oh, whatever, man, you know, that's suffer your fate. Now I'm to the point of I think everybody that was arrested should be pardoned and let go, because maybe you did hit a cop, but what was happening that instigated you to do that? Now, some of them people obviously wasn't instigated at all. They were just assholes. But you can't prove now. The water's been so muddied, like you can't prove that did the cop hit the guy first? You know, like there was so much federal manipulation going on in there. Like that's the price the Fed should pay for getting involved in that. And not being like legitimate police about it, right? They should have just, look, if people got out of control, arrest them, right? If they're burning shit down, arrest them. But when you're manipulating it, now, I don't buy the narrative.
Well, and I think we kind of came to the same agreement with the whole Whitmer kidnapping plot, right? If you have more agents than people convincing people to do something.
That's entrapment, man. You shouldn't be able to do that. Like, let them out. Maybe they were unsavory people, a couple of them. Maybe they, but you know what? When you manipulated the situation, you gave up your moral authority, your moral high ground on it now. You know, so you can't go and arrest them and throw them in prison forever. This is why there was like standards with this stuff, right? There was rules about this to protect the case, right? The integrity of it. And now you can't.
I would have seen it differently had these guys went to some feds and said, hey, we'd like to do this. And the feds are like, well, let's see how far they'd actually go with it and get as much dirt on them as we can for a conviction, right?
Yeah.
But it sounds like
it was all the feds' idea.
Yeah.
That they were like going out seeking these people, trying to recruit them into this. And they were the ones supplying. We got the guns, we got a helicopter, we got the bombs. Like, I'll show you how to make a bomb, and like completely manipulated the shit out of this because they wanted that headline. They needed it because now...
Because that was the October surprise, right?
That was the October surprise. And now, just like with the... complete manipulation of the American people and of the electoral process. Like, you know, the integrity of our elections is like shit right now. And
so here's a question. Why was it when cities were being burned down all across this country, it was... You know, riots are the voices of the unheard, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's good for COVID.
And you gotta let them air their grievances. You gotta give them space to air their grievances. But all of a sudden, the narrative completely switched on January 6th.
Right.
This wasn't the voice of the unheard?
No, this was the worst day in American history, worse than 9/11, worse than Pearl Harbor, probably the worst day in human history. This is the shit that they're trying to brainwash people into believing. You know, an insurrection. People lost their lives. Yeah, a young girl lost her life that was shot in the face by a shitty cop that the whole country would have burnt down to the ground had that girl been a different color.
In a different...
And in a different, you know what? Maybe even the same color, but a different voting block, right? Like, that shit would have never been allowed because she wasn't attacking anyone. She was climbing through a fucking window. And that justified shooting her and killing her?
Oh, and remember the cop?
You were that scared for your life, you know?
Remember the cop, they said he was beat with a fire extinguisher and killed.
And died, and then you find out later on, like, yeah, that was not what happened at all, you know? He had a stroke days later. So... You know, it's kind of like the COVID thing. Like, if you die with COVID, then you died because of COVID. Well, you know, like, I was okay with what we seen happen with George Floyd, whether you agreed with the police and how they handled it or not. I supported those people's right to protest. You want to fill the streets up in March?
Amen.
Do it, man. We're free. You should have the right to voice your opinion. But this shit where only half the country can voice their opinion and the other half, like, if you dare even whisper, like, you're going to the gulag, like, you're going to Guantanamo Bay for 2 years in solitary confinement? No way, man. This all you're going to do is shred the country in half. You're going to start a hot civil war.
You're seeing the two-tier justice system with Hunter Biden, right?
Exactly.
Like it or not, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. If that was Don Jr., do you think it would be the same?
They tried to throw Don Jr.
But you know what I'm saying. Had they found that laptop, had they had these images,
he would be in jail forever.
The cocaine at the White, all of it, right? Do you think the media would just be
like nonchalant about it?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, the Secret Service did a 5-day investigation. It's one of 500 people. They don't know who it is. Case closed. It's all over. This is the most just degenerate.
If you look at it, just stand back, objectively look at it, like, you know that they would treat Don Jr. completely different than they were treating Hunter Biden.
And I want that fair across the board.
Right,
even if, like we said, I think it was last week or the week before, we know that the higher ups in the world play by different rules than us common folk, right?
True.
And we've accepted a certain amount of that. You know, we knew, like, Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, was super drunk driving and smashed someone, never spent a day in jail for shit like that. Like, you know, had that been me or you know, 10 years in prison.
Well, what was the senator?
Yeah.
Ted Kennedy, right? He killed someone, right?
Yeah, did the car wreck, drinking and driving, car wreck, killed the girl, the girl that was with him, teenage girl. So there's always been this, you know, elitist complex that they have that the rules don't pertain to them. But, like, the gap has gotten so far now, like, it's ridiculous. And then you have this sub-gap between them where, you know, if you're arresting your political adversary, like, seriously? Is there anyone in this country that is honestly okay with this? And you know, all you did was solidify support for Trump doing this kind of shit. And then, you know, I step back and I go, this guy's been being investigated for 10 years. Like, they're crawling through his garbage looking for a shitty receipt that they could burn him on something. And so far, they found nothing. Like, wow, I would have thought he was a lot dirtier than that. You know, years ago, I assumed he was, you know, he was part of that club, right? Like, he's probably as dirty as the rest of them. And I got to admit now, I kind of wonder, like, man, he's pretty clean. Or he'd already be in jail. But they had to have that January 6th insurrection terminology right from the get-go because they planned this all out to burn Trump later on so that he can't run. Because if they can tag him with this, which now they're indicting him on this, that he was inciting an insurrection, he can't run. Now, what are the 70 million people that voted for him going to do? And you figure what, out of 70 million, over half those people, considering right now between him and DeSantis, he's pulling at like 60+%. That's a lot of people. Do you think they're just going to go quietly into the night after you've been constantly trying to, all these bullshit charges against the person that they want to elect to represent them, and they're going to take this on the chin? Man, and then you want to go to war with Russia and the Ukraine and the economy and real estate, and like, guys, I'd stock up on some food, man. I'd stock up on some canned food, some, water, because I just am black-pilled right now. The greatest line I heard, though, I was telling a family member yesterday, and I don't know where I picked it up. I heard it somewhere, but someone said, look, man, Jesus is coming back. He has to come soon, because if he doesn't, it's not even going to be a surprise when he does. And I thought, man, that's rich. I like that.
That lady is 28 years old. She's riding in the car with him.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought...
Yeah, didn't they crash and she drowned, I think, or something?
Said that the car was upside down in a pond on Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, and then there was a lot of... I went down a rabbit hole with that once when I was younger about... I'm not going to go there. Yeah. That's got to be an after-the-show conversation there, because, Lord knows the way things are in this day and age, like, I could get deleted or disappeared myself to Guantanamo Bay, so.
Whoa.
Can't speak out against them.
This is from History Channel, too. That's crazy.
There was some really, yeah.
He said he dove repeatedly into the strong, murky current to try to find... I'm not going to pronounce your name because I don't want to mess it up and be disrespectful.
Yeah.
Before making his way back to the cottage, he then drove back to the scene with his cousin and an aide, who both tried in vain to reach the ladies. But rather than report the accident to the police at that time, Kennedy returned to his hotel. As a result, the lady, Mary Jo, remained underwater for some 9 hours until her body was recovered the next morning.
Yep.
Oh.
And there was something to, you know what? Look into it, guys. Anyone that I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole with this one right now because I don't want our channel to get nuked.
Yeah.
And, you pick and choose your battles, I guess. But I would tell you, look into this because there's a deeper story in this about the rabbit hole.
Well, it kind of hints at it right here, even on history.
There's a lot to this, that there was a lot of conspiracy theories about it, and head wounds and stuff, and like
interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So yeah, look into it. So
we did over an hour. What do you think?
Yeah, I think probably the only other thing I wanted to get into was voting, but we can save that one for next week.
Aliens.
Yeah. And aliens. Yeah. The alien one, I wanted to get back into that too, because So yeah, we'll look at that. We'll tease everybody. Check it out, guys.
Yeah.
Gotta stay tuned now. Gotta wait till the next episode.
I have some pretty interesting thoughts about what's going on here.
Yeah, I have
and aliens.
Yep, I've let my brain pop on that one a little bit. So
Cool. Tune in next week, everybody.
All right, thanks, guys.
Be kind to each other.